Because if I was motivating my clients every 2 years to buy the next wealth building asset or to get them into a bigger house because they need it or to downsize them because they want it, and I just focused on that, I could actually create market transactions the market didn't provide.
You want to build that book of business that is sellable. If all we teach you is real estate, we have failed. Just because the market went up or down doesn't mean your job changed.
Welcome to Signature Buzz, your fast-paced weekly real estate sales meeting.
So, that looks like a fake background behind us, but it's not. It looks like I would create that just for my home rooms.
Yeah, you could move and you won't see the stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's not. We're sitting in my wine room.
Not because it's the coolest room in the house.
It's the coolest office. This is going to be an award-winning show, Chris.
Yes.
And the reason being is because there's been many days that we've ended the day with just a glass of whiskey or a drink and just kind of BS.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what the heck? Let's have a drink and let's just talk. Let's talk about the market. Let's talk about things that are going on, just kind of like we always do.
So it's interesting now when we were talking about the meeting and kind of the setup we were going to do for this one because we wanted to make it a little bit different. I actually can't go without a script in some cases. So I went into my ChatGPT. By the way, if you don't have ChatGPT on your phone, download it. You actually have it as instead of you clicking or saying, hey, Siri or whatever, you click ChatGPT and it talks to you. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so it stores all the questions that you ask it. It stores the things that happen with it. And it starts to learn the things like it stores data and information. It starts to learn things you relate to. And then it starts to pull those things when you're asking for info. What made you do that?
I saw somebody else had done it. And no, I don't have an original idea of my own. So I just usually take someone else's and do it. But no, it's instead of I use Siri still a lot too, but it just does a lot more. And it's gone a lot. It's getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like I like to cook, and so I'll ask her for recipes.
Oh, cool.
Right. And then now she'll actually talk to me and tell me how to make it. Not only pull the recipe and give it to me, but walk me through the process. And I'll go, thank you. And then she'll go, yeah, I hope you enjoy your chicken piccata or whatever it is. So
and does it come back later and say, how did you like your chicken piccata?
No, but that would be
cool, right? That'll freak you out.
Next time we get on.
So today I kind of went, it's such a high level product that is used in such a low level way. And I asked it a series of questions today about a land transaction I'm doing. And I was just looking for information. And one of the things I've used it for is to find people. I'll give you a great, for instance. So my grandfather lived here in Vegas pretty much his entire life. And I wanted to find some information about some news videos that he did for when they imploded the Stardust. And I asked Chat instead of Google. Google couldn't find me anything. Chat, it went through the archives at UNLV and found everyone and then benchmarked the video in which he's in. And all I did was give it a name and a city.
Wow.
It freaked me out. And then I started going through that process and I thought, well, if they can do stuff like that, how can I use it more in my business, right? So I was looking for this landowner and I said, can you find me the owner of this parcel? And I gave it the parcel number and it started scrubbing the tax records, like, how the public would do it versus how we do it as real estate agents. And it spit out info, history on the property, the whole thing. And that kind of surprised me because, I never planned on using it at such a high level for my real estate business. I just thought of, make me a Word document or do this. Yeah. It's a little freaky.
It's really freaky. I mean, I'll give you a cheat that I used this year. So on legislative management team where we had to review all the bills and stuff, it's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
So I would actually put it into ChatGPT and say, is there anything I need to be concerned about when it has to do with real estate and blah, blah, owner's rights and stuff. And it spit out a whole list of stuff. And then I'd be like, man, I'm smart.
Yeah.
Get on the
I wonder why your questions were so good.
What about that?
Well, I asked it a different question today in preparation for this, just because I wasn't sure what we were going to be talking about. And then you had the great idea of the setup. So I asked it, it's almost been, I think it has been, it's been exactly a year since the NAR settlements. And a year ago, if you guys remember, everyone was freaked out about what's going to happen. Agents were concerned about commission wouldn't be charged at all. Like they couldn't figure out a way to do it. We were concerned about the paperwork and how we utilize an agreement on both sides. And we must have had 3 town halls. There was a bunch of emails, videos that were recorded and sent out. And so a year's gone by. And so I asked Chat, I said, tell me 7 things that agents should feel positive about after this year of hell because of the NAR settlement. And I got to read this to you because this is so good. I couldn't make this up, and Tom Blanchard couldn't write it as well. The title of what it said is a great topic. It said, "We're still standing stronger than ever." Right. And all I hear is Elton John in the background, like pounding on the piano. It says it's been a year since the NAR settlement. Despite all the noise, realtors are still here and still thriving. The professionals who adapted quickly are winning bigger than before. And I was like, wow. And a lot of companies didn't get out in front of it like we tried to do. And we weren't perfect at it by any means because we were still trying to figure out what the hell was going on. But I think the one message that we catered over and over was that this isn't the end of the world. And it's not the worst problem we've ever had. It's just another cycle and change. What do you think about that topic since then?
Well, it's crazy because it was like people were so anticipating the worst.
Yeah.
Like, this is the end of the industry. I don't know how I'm going to make any money. And yet it's business as usual.
Yeah.
In fact, there's been I even responded to a couple of articles in the RJ about commissions are up, and it's just interesting, the perception of what that was going to do to our industry. And even the perception of what people outside the industry thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
Like really change it, really bring commissions down, all that kind of stuff. And it hasn't, because there's still a value for a realtor in a transaction, and there's still a cost for it.
Yeah.
And so it's still pretty much the same. You're getting there a different way. And I think it's made agents stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was good for our industry, but it isn't what they thought it was going to be.
I think Keith Lynham said it interesting when it came out. We shouldn't make anyone have to use a buyer broker agreement. It shouldn't have to be there, because if I do use one, and I've been using it for years and I'm skilled at it, that's a skill level I have that others don't. Now you've kind of leveled the playing field. And when he first said it, I kind of was like, well, no, it's good for everybody. And then I was like, that is a skill, being able to articulate that to a buyer and have them see the value. And I find it interesting that the whole lawsuit was around commission conversations. Like, you didn't tell me what you charge, you didn't say this or that. Now that you empowered agents with those conversations, where they're now earning more. And so those that had the skill, like Keith's point, are now have the ability to earn even more money than before. I actually made a decision in my business to level up my basis, because there's much more risk, there's litigation going on, and I have all these things that could happen. And I haven't had a client this year say, no, you're not worth it.
And it's a different market. I mean, it's not. See, I think the market dictates a lot of things too, because like when things are going faster, they don't necessarily need an agent with the skill level that they might need when
they don't think they do.
Right. When the marketing stuff's there. And so I think it's good. And yes, I think it makes the agent stronger, and it's better because agents get paid what they're worth, not what somebody says they're worth.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, in the past, it was an offer of compensation, and that's what you took.
That's true.
Right. And now you have the opportunity to sit down with the buyer, explain the process and the value and all that stuff, and get hired at a fee, and then you get to work for that fee. But you and the buyer get to negotiate and determine that.
I think the thing I've always kind of related to, and I just had this conversation with one of my coaching clients the other day, is that the commission itself wasn't about, how much money I'm going to spend on the marketing, or, the tools that I have or any of that. It was about my experience. Mm-hmm. Like, you're paying for the value of my experience. And I think a lot of newer agents who are getting into business are like, well, I don't have any experience yet. And that's why you align yourself with, the brokerage and the people that have it, because we are a team when it comes to that. And I think that, when I first started, I had the luck of having my parents as my mentors and things like that. They didn't make it easy for me, by the way.
They've just made it hard.
Yeah.
Still do this.
Still here. And the experience that they had was what I leveraged, right? Until I gained my own. And I think that when it really comes to it, like you go to a doctor's office and, you pay that deductible and the doctor's cost, and you're doing it because you want their experience of diagnosis of they've seen it and they've heard it and they know what it is, not for the prescription you're going to get later. And I think that that's the thing in our business that empowered us to start believing. And that's what the lawsuit did. It empowered us to think that part.
But it brings up a good point, because part of the argument on the other side was that we're paying the same for somebody with inexperience as we are for experience. And this kind of levels that out. And I don't mean levels it that everyone gets paid the same. It levels it out that you're going to get paid for your abilities and what you can present and be hired for. So Yeah, I think commissions are going up for a couple reasons. Number one, you've empowered agents on the other side, the buyer side, to negotiate that. And then number two, the market's changed.
Yeah.
Right. And so as the market changes, commissions fluctuate too. I mean, when the market's tough, you see builders paying higher commissions. When the market's really good, that commission went down in the past. So the market dictates some stuff too. So I think it's a natural thing. I don't think the lawsuit has created the higher, and we're talking minuscule raise too, but they're blowing it up. But I don't think the settlement has changed that much in our industry.
It was like everyone's intent was to lower our incomes.
Yeah.
Like all along with the media for sure, but everyone's intent was to lower the amount of money agents paid and have the opposite effect that wasn't how they were selling newspapers. I think that was funny.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that came out of it is, and it comes to another thing on here, consumer confidence is still high in Las Vegas. And I think that's something that we're hearing the opposite of on social media. We still have buyers that are moving here from high tax states, New York, California, surrounding states are coming here because it's still an attractive job market. It's still a relatively low expense place to live. I mean, when you think of property tax and sales tax and everything else. And so we're still seeing that flux and they're building like crazy. I mean, I understand as soon as someone listens, oh yeah, but they got all this inventory. Well, yeah, you need inventory when you have people moving here. And sooner or later, it's going to hit a certain level where they're going to slow down on the building or people are going to pick up on the buying. And I think we're like in that teeter-totter part of it. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Remember though, after the recession, right, builders stopped building.
Yeah.
And then we depleted our inventory. Like we didn't have enough homes for growth. And I still don't think we do. And yeah, we're seeing more inventory of homes on the market, but it's still pre-COVID levels. And so it's not like a massive amount of inventory. So they're making it sound like, oh, big jumps. Yes, it's a jump from a few months ago, but overall, it's not like it's a very unhealthy market. In fact, it's moving, in my opinion, more of a
stabilization.
Yeah, a balanced market.
I think what's funny about the recession when you talk about it is I remember a stat that came out, and you could see this all over Vegas, like Focus Group and these other equity partner companies that were out there. There was a stat that came out and said KB Homes in 2006 and 7 had 600 plus months of inventory. 600. And people are concerned right now about 6 or 7 months, right? And that's all we're at. And I remember the builders shedding lots like crazy. I mean, these are lots they already spent money on, that they already paid high prices for. And, they had to shed those for their stockholders and everything else. But there's a big difference between that and this. And I think every recession we've seen, every market change has had a different impasse. I don't see that as this way. I mean, God, I hope things get more affordable so that we can buy up everything that's out there. But it never happens that way.
Well, it did. It did in like 2007.
But no one had any money to buy it,
right? That was the problem.
Could use your equity in a house you didn't have to buy anything anymore.
Yeah, to buy a $20,000 condo today. Oh my gosh, how would that be, right?
Yeah,
yeah. It's a neat thing. But when you look over this past year too, I mean, yeah, the market's changed. Like mid 2022.
Yeah,
things just shifted, right? It was a really hot. Things were going along, and then all of a sudden, it just kind of, because I was president of LVR during that point, and month after month, it was a higher median.
Lucky.
Higher median. Yeah,
I didn't get to say anything. I said 317 the entire year.
The entire year, right?
I was going to get a stamp. It was easier than saying.
I hit a record. It's been surpassed now, but I hit a record, and then all of a sudden, things just kind of almost come to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
When you look at that, I mean, we're 3 years in. We're in the beginning of the 4th year of a change in the market.
Yeah.
And when you look at some agents are just really starting to feel it. Some agents have felt it for a long time, and some agents are thriving. I mean, why do you think some agents, when markets change like this, don't miss a beat?
I think it's training. And also who you surround yourself with, because I'm going to say, there were certain parts of the last couple of markets where I noticed that even though things aren't great, good things happen because you were focused on making them happen. But there's a couple other factors. So number one, we did see a bunch of agents get out of the business. LBR reported they had 17,000 members. Now they're down to 15,500. Not even a big dip, right? But I mean, we're talking about 8 or 9%. And so 8 or 9% of the people that said, I'm not going to deal with this, I'm gone. But we're still seeing these new people get in. So I think the one thing is those that kept their head down and didn't let things bother them, they're getting some benefits from that hard work. When those agents leave the market, there's an opportunity to create more market share. So if you were working your butt off before the change and you're still working your butt off, you're probably gaining market share in an area The other thing that comes out of it is I think a lot of agents have now shifted to niches again.
Yeah.
Like if you could really become great at certain property types, like I'm great at golf course communities or 55 and older, or high-rise condos, whatever it is. I've seen some of those people take off, like because they've focused on a market area. They got their marketing pieces out there. And now people are paying attention to it because now the consumer has a reason to pay attention, right? They're so fearful of what they're hearing in the media. They didn't care 2 years ago because they just saw their equity go up. Now they're a little trepidatious and they want to list their house. And you've been marketing to them for 2 years.
Yeah. I think when you look at LVR's numbers, and you're seeing that across the country, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty consistent from company to company, from association to association percentages. But I think there's a lot more agents that have gotten out of the business. They just didn't leave.
Sure.
And so I think that's where you're seeing a lot more of the stagnation. They're just kind of going through the motions and stuff like that, hoping they get
They're waiting for their deals to close.
And then they're gone.
Well, the stat that came out from NAR the other day, and I didn't think about it this way, but it's interesting. When they reported 2 or 3 years ago, the average age of an agent was like 54 years old. Now the average age of an agent is 57 years old, and that's the average, right? That means there's this whole delta of agents that have hit retirement age where hopefully they've saved for retirement and they can. And that's the one thing I started to notice. Like, we always had this delta of agents that didn't do any deals. Now there's this delta of agents that are ready to retire, but they're keeping their license so they can get a referral fee or something like that. But they're not out there transacting for business, to your point. Yeah. And that's only going to get worse because as agents grow older, I mean, I'm older than I was when I started and I'm not retiring yet. But I mean, like the whole point is at a certain time, you'd want to sell less houses. And I think we're seeing that a little as well.
And you know what? One of the biggest groups that I've seen of agents that we've lost, so to speak, I would say lost, that are no longer with our company. They're not with any other company because they are that older group that were ready for retirement. And when it started to get tough, they just didn't want to do it again, right? Go through another downturn or anything like that. I saw a lot of great agents that have done a lot of transactions actually get out of the business.
Yep.
Yes, some of them are getting referral fees and stuff like that. But that brings me to this concept of, I looked at it getting into the insurance business a while back. And one of the things you can do when you're starting up in insurance is go buy a book of business.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody retiring or getting out or wanting to sell their business. We don't see that as much in real estate
because agents don't have a formal database. Like you absolutely could. And everyone I've talked to about it, I had an agent who retired about 6 years ago, and she was a great agent. Like she was a military Air Force colonel, and then she moved into real estate sales, and she did a great book of business. And I mean, every month would have 1 or 2 closings. She made the decision it was time to retire. Like I'm not doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually went to her and I said, Leslie, I'd like to buy your book of business. I'd like to talk to you about it. She goes, oh no, I'm just going to hang up my license. And I said, well, what about all these clients and things like that? She goes, no, it's just friends and family and people. And I said, well, if you have the list, we could work it together. She goes, no, it's too much work. And I was stunned because we're talking about, if this was a valued business, it'd be $300,000-$400,000 value that you'd pay somebody. And it all came back to the point of the work and time and energy it would take to put it into formality and to show someone, here's how it actually works. She didn't have set up. Now I was willing to go and do that, but she was already past that point, didn't want to do it.
She'd already made the commitment to be gone and be done, didn't want to put the effort in. You look at it, I think a lot of it is, you're right, they don't have a database or a system to keep it all together. But number two, they don't really focus on building the relationships.
No.
Because it seems like in our market, in Vegas, it seems like it's been very, very good, like very hot and then very cold and very hot. And
for those that are set up on the market cycle, not for those database.
And when you look at that, it's like everybody's been chasing that next person, that next deal.
Yeah.
And not stopping in time to build those relationships, to build that book. So that's a different thing. In insurance, you don't really have to build the relationships. It's almost like the gym membership.
Yeah.
You just have to pay it.
Yeah. Once you're embarrassed to go there and say, I haven't been, so look it up.
So real estate's a little bit different in that way, but the commissions are a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And there's a lot there. So, I mean, I wish agents would take more time to put that stuff together.
To the point, the problem I usually see, anyone I coach with or I work with, my goal is always to get them to memorialize their contacts, right? And put it at someplace where they can actually see it. And I try to get them to go there every month. And everyone who's actually done it has taken off, has absolutely taken off in their business. And the nice part is, for those that are listening to this, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard this crap before. It only takes about a year, like one solid year of 12 months We're making those call calls. We're not even saying call them up and beg them for business. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying just get in front of them and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Just wondering if you're wanting to do anything this year. I've actually seen people create a marketplace, because if I was motivating my clients every 2 years to buy the next wealth building asset, or to get them into a bigger house because they need it, or to downsize them because they want it, and I just focused on that, I could actually create market transactions the market didn't provide.
Yeah, and I believe that. I mean, no one agent's going to change the market, but you can plant seeds and you can have conversations. For instance, if somebody's got a kid moving away to college,
Yeah.
like they may have never thought about buying a property that their kid could live in, rent out the rooms, and you could sell that and pay off their college debt, or
Right.
have an income property after the fact. So,
And have the other kids' parents who are paying for college debt, if they think about it, pay it off.
right.
That's even better.
But yeah, so I think you can create some transactions in that regard. And I talked to agents today because my mindset's changed over the last year. Like I was about chasing the business. And what I mean by that, it was like prospecting, numbers, contacts. It's a mathematical formula. You do this many contacts, you talk to this many people, you're going to book this many appointments, you're going to take this many listings, and you're going to make X amount of dollars, right? I even had a spreadsheet. You can plug in the numbers and it'll tell you, talk to this many people a day, have those real estate conversations. And now it's like, no, I read the book. All our agents know, and I'm cramming it down their throats. I'm buying
You
it.
can give it away.
Yeah, but in reality, it's this thing of you want to build that book of business that is sellable or whatever, right? And you want to work with people that
Want to work with you.
want to work with you, right? And that are willing to pay you your fee. But and so this year's been a transformation for me on that. And I agree you can build those or create those transactions, but in reality, like we need to be just talking to people. They're humans. This is a human business, and the more you get to know people, the more enjoyable this becomes. In fact, I was teaching cultivating for relationships this last week, and one of the things I used as an example was the service that we've given it, like LVR and the state, that kind of stuff. And you do that and you don't make more money because of it. It's not a paid position. In fact, you lose money because of it.
You get experience, I think.
You get some experience and you're in the know, and there's some value there. But in reality, the real value that came out of that is the relationships and the people that you meet. Like that's how I met you.
Yeah.
That's how I met many of my great friends.
Don't ever go down to that place.
So where I'm going with that is, in the end, when you look back, what are you looking back? You don't look back at all the transactions you did. You don't look at the plaques on the wall. You think about the people.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think the deeper you can go with that stuff, the better it's going to be.
I go to these events, and I agree with you, by the way, on everything you said, even though I didn't initially when we kind of went through the process, because we weren't talking the same language on what it was. And I'm like, yeah, you have to have these things. And yeah, you have to have those. But it's always been about the people. Like, if I just have the conversations that I'm just talking to them, a good salesperson, no matter what, is going to identify opportunities. And I think the one thing I get from both of the books is creativity, right? The great salespeople are creative, not creative in the way they do the deal, but creative on, oh my God, did you think about this? And oh my God, have you thought about that? And if you're able to have those conversations, then people are looking for a dedicated professional. They're going to guide them through because they don't know. I mean, why do you have a coach? Why do you read a book? So that you have someone guiding you through a process to get better. And I think the one thing I've seen transition with you over this last year is you've turned from just kind of, we're going to have these conversations, to here's the plan, and let's jump on board and let's get you someplace. And I think a lot of times people lack that floating down to the actual plan. They just kind of, okay, I'll try a little bit and see how it goes. And they get a little bit of results and they're happy.
Yeah.
Well, no, if you get to the end, it's really good. But, you go to these events that we go to and you see these people that are doing 100 transactions, 150 transactions. It comes back to the same thing. They're having a lot of conversations. They're dedicating a lot of their time to talking to people. And once you have a client that you've sold 3 or 4 houses to, you talk to every single month, you know about them, their family, what they're all about, what their vision and goals are, it's almost impossible not to get the residual business unless you ignore them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where we see the trend of, higher producing agents. Well, they start ignoring people because they don't have a good system in place. And that's the other thing you've been bringing to the table, systems.
The funny thing is one of the things we do in this industry is we compare ourselves to other people, right? So we look at that leaderboard, these people that are on stage that have done hundreds of transactions and all that stuff.
They got problems too.
They got a lot of them. And that's where I was going with it, because when you look about the people they prayed across the stage, when you go to Mike Ferry's Superstar Retreat and stuff like that, if you actually dove into their business, some of them are probably pretty successful in the way of profit and stuff like that. But a lot of these teams and a lot of these big agents aren't making the kind of money you think they are. They're generating it. They're generating sales and revenue and stuff like that. But a lot of it's going out the back end. They're spending money on things that aren't there. And the biggest thing that they are sacrificing is their sanity and their health and everything else that they're pushing to achieve those numbers. And running 100% company where we make money based on transactions, right? Yeah. You would think that we push people to do more transactions. It's not about that. Like in reality, it's really about what, at the end of the day, how profitable is your business? And I'm talking about the agent. How profitable is it? And how balanced is your life? And how do you feel?
Like, that's sustainability in a marketplace, right? I mean, if people are onesie twosie or they can't sustain, that just means the future of the company isn't good. Yeah. And so I like the way you said that, because people that are unhappy tend to jump around. They tend to not stay focused on the activities at hand. And that's why a lot of things don't get done. And then they're not in a good place. And so when you're not in a good place, that always comes out to everybody else, like comes out to your clients, goes out to your family. And so, I like that mentality. Like I'm only going to do what I want to do in a good way that I feel about doing it. And go through the process.
Yeah. And like we stumbled upon this saying that if all we teach you is real estate, we have failed. But it's true. Like we stumbled upon it, but it's kind of my mantra now, because really the balance of life and people being happy and the longevity is that much better. But I want to take a little commercial break.
Okay.
Right. And our show really isn't sponsored by these guys, but I'm just telling you, I'm drinking this Whistle Pig.
Oh yeah.
Right. And we bought a barrel, Signature. And so we got the Signature Real Estate customized barrel.
It actually says Signature on the bottle.
Yeah, right here on here. It's all labeled. And so it's really good.
Yeah.
Like I don't normally drink whiskey over like a rock like that, but I thought I'd try this, and it's really smooth. So, but anyway, we're going to be giving these out as gifts and different things like that.
Motivators.
Yeah. To do more. No.
Drink them after you leave the office.
No, but this is really good stuff. But it's not really brought to you by.
You got to tell me though, what led you to the thought process of getting a Signature barrel of
Whistle Pig? So really, what I want to do, and this would be a good fun activity for a group of people. And so, if you're interested in this, I'd want to know this too. Is I think their distillery is back east in.
Don't say Kentucky.
It's not in Kentucky. It's back east.
Yeah. Vermont. Yeah, that's pretty. Nope.
That's pretty. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can go back there.
You can't go any further.
You can go back there, and they have an experience where you can go and you can pick a barrel.
Oh, really?
Like you go, and they have chefs, and it's a 2 or 3 day experience, and you go through that whole thing. And in doing that, the criteria is you got to buy 2 barrels. Well, I know the Whistle Pig rep out here, right? I met her through one of our agents' husbands, who used to be like the Jägermeister rep.
Oh yeah,
I have that over here. The Jägermeister rep and the Terramana tequila. Anyway, I met her, and she said we have this orphan barrel. And what it meant is they had a barrel that somebody had ordered, but they didn't pick it up. And so she said,
you adopted.
Yeah, they could give it to me. So I adopted a barrel. And so it wasn't really picked for us, but it's numbered and it's a limited edition, and nobody else will have this actual mix. So
that's really cool.
I thought it was pretty cool. But I was talking to actually Azim, who I met through volunteering, was talking about doing a fundraiser type thing through and picking a barrel and going back.
That would be really cool.
And so I just thought it was cool, and it's unique and kind of a collector's item.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I drink Scotch, and I don't mind whiskey or rye, but it's fantastic. It's actually really cool.
Yeah.
But can say that we do something different here.
I don't know if this is just really good or if it's just because it has our name on it. It's all seriously. It's all the experience of drinking it. So anyway,
well, where were we? Back from break.
Welcome back. No, we were talking about relationships and stuff like that, but let's shift a little bit, because when we talk about if all we teach you is real estate, then we have failed, right? And we do a fair amount of coaching. We do a lot of real estate coaching and stuff. Let's kind of talk about that and why that's important.
I think a lot of people, I want to point out the way you said that. A lot of people believe that real estate coaching is just about transactions, and it's not. Because there's no question that your personal life bleeds into your real estate business. And I think that every real estate coach I know that's a great real estate coach coaches in multiple quadrants, like multiple layers of a person. And you want to make sure someone's happy, that they're somewhat healthy. I wasn't really healthy for a lot of years. I was happy. I was always smiling.
I've been there too.
But like when you are able to make those things happen, but it's just like your real estate business. Until you're ready for this quadrant to take off and to commit time into it, it's not going to happen. But most coaches, coach on all of those life sectors because the progression of your happiness leads to your business. Like that's why 80% of everything we do is motivation based, because if I can't motivate you, won't do any of the other stuff that's out there. And so I think I see that resonate in all the stuff we're talking about. Is it's the internal piece of it, the happiness part, that does play a big role. And I think it does in my coaching. I know it does in yours, because you talk about that.
Well, yeah, no, it's funny too, because everyone thinks the next deal, I just need one more deal and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Just one more.
I already spent that money.
Yeah, that's not what's going to create happiness. And one thing I've learned this year is you can be happy today.
Yeah.
If you make the choice to be, right. And so, yeah, the coaching thing is if you get everything aligned, all the quadrants of your life, so to speak, things start to move better, right? And usually sometimes it's a personal life, sometimes it's your health, sometimes something else that's actually holding you back from business. So it's not always about focusing on more contacts and more stuff. It's sometimes you got to get that other stuff put together. And there was this exercise years ago that I went through with Alex Siddig when he used to coach me, called the Wheel of Life. And it breaks it down in sections, and you say, where are you in the percentage? And you kind of color this wheel in, and you look at how lopsided it is. And say, if you had to go down the freeway like that, how good of a ride would it be? And that's how our life is, right? And so, it's about balance. And sometimes coaching is working on other things that aren't really in the business.
Yeah. You can't wait for someday. I actually lost a good friend this last week. She was 88 years old. Known her for a lot of years. And the tragedy about it was she had a very, very happy life. She had great grandkids, great grandkids, stuff about that. But she had saved her whole life for this part of her life for retirement. And she was probably only in the middle of what she had planned for. She was planning to live a lot longer. And she sacrificed a lot of things for later.
Yeah.
And later didn't happen. I had an uncle, worked his entire life, worked as hard as he could, and passed away at 67 years old and just retired at 66.
Yeah.
And he planned for all this other stuff. And I think the one thing I love about real estate is it does provide an opportunity for you to escalate beyond what you're stuck in, right? If you really put the dedication in, it doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your education, you can make anything you want happen. But I always hear a lot of people say, well, I'll do that next year, or I'll do that later. I mean, most people have paid off their credit cards 3 times. If they stopped using the damn credit card, they wouldn't have to pay it off, right? But that's not how we think. We'll do it later. And I think that one thing I've got, and I've gotten since I've been here at Signature, is there's a lot of reasons to do it now, right? And there's a lot of support to do it now.
Yeah. I had a good friend, her dad just passed, and he was in his 80s. And him and his wife passed a couple of years ago, but him and his wife had saved all their life, and they had a good amount of money. They weren't worried about money, put it that way. And they did it because they liked to travel. And one day they were going to travel. And when they got to the point where they had the money and they felt comfortable to do it, they were in the shape to do it. And he ended up with dementia. But one of the things he told her was, if you want to travel, then travel. Don't wait, because you'll get to a point where you'll have all the funds and the necessity to be able to do it, and then you won't be able to do it. So, it's real. You've got to have balance.
Yeah. I think that, you've said this many times, anything I've ever wanted, that I really wanted, that I really had to have, you've made happen, right? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times our motivation leads out of necessity. I got to pay these bills, so I'll go out and work. Well, that's not the best way to go about it, when you could just look at it from the other side of, I'm going to have these conversations so that I have a better life. so that I have a better business and so that I have a better community around me. I mean, if you come from it from a different approach, it doesn't sound so bad, but we always put this fear on it. Like, oh my God, the projection. And I had an agent the other day and I said, did you get your calls done? No. Okay. Why not? Well, and it's always the same thing. I didn't have time. Well, you have time. Like, if it was important, you would have got it done. Your house was on fire, you put it out. And so like, if
you like your house,
yeah, maybe not, maybe I would, but like, it's the priorities in life that dictate the outcome. And a lot of times it happens that way. It's just crazy. I want to go back to something that we talked about, and we've said it many times. This is a shifting market. Where the hell is it going? Where's it shifting to? Like, is it a plate, like an earthquake type shift? Like, what do you think of when you hear shifting market?
Well, I mean, a shift could be bad or it could be good, right? And to me,
would that make it shifty?
Shift. This is what I would say. I don't think there's a bad shift.
Yeah.
I think there's opportunity in any shift, right? And we talked about it earlier. I mean, there have been agents that have gotten out of the business. There are people that are doing less, and there's opportunity there. To me, I think it's balancing. And yes, when rates come down, if the rates come down, it could shift in another direction. It could pick up, and a lot of people are anticipating that.
Yeah.
But we did an accountability call last week, and it just said, you can't wait for that, right? You can't do your whole business plan around that. Like, just because the market went up or down doesn't mean your job changed.
Nope.
Like, you still need to make the connections. You still need to build the relationships. You still need to do everything that you were supposed to be doing before. You can't control the market, but you can control what you do. And so if the market's gotten tougher, then do more of this. If the market's gotten easier, continue to do more of this, because you're going to reap the benefits of it.
I think that I read a thing the other day, and it came up in this chat too. I mean, it's so similar. It was kind of scary, eerie. Every shift creates new niches, and I know I've used that word a few times, but a couple of days ago, I had a client who's looking for an investment property. Same thing. He wants to have a project, right? And we came across a short sale. Now, this is everyone's saying, oh my God, prices are so expensive, the whole thing. This is a 4,000 square foot plus house at $148 a square foot. Everything I'm seeing is 240, 250, 260 in some cases. This is $148 a square foot. And it says in the agent remarks, current list price is approved by bank. No offers on the property. When I call up, I'm like, are you serious? She's like, no offers. And I said, well, what do you think that is? She goes, I don't think anyone knows what a short sale is. I think it's scared away so many people that don't know about it. And I'm like, wow, that's an emerging niche in the marketplace that some have already conquered, that they could have the opportunity again. Just 2 days ago, there was a national report that came out, national news. It said that Las Vegas is the epicenter for foreclosures in the nation. And I'm like, there's less than 3%, in our inventory that are foreclosures. That's the epicenter of the nation. I remember, 15, 16 years ago when that was thousands and thousands and thousands of properties. No one really, I've had agents ask me, what's a foreclosure? What does it mean? Like, even because a lot of people aren't here.
Yeah. All those people that work in the short sales and foreclosures, they're doing something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the market shifted.
Working at Lowe's.
Right? The market shifted. They're off to the next big thing.
But so there's so much opportunity when a market shifts that if you can just position yourself, like I gave the example of senior communities and things like that. We have the largest delta of a generation retiring, seeking retirement communities. How many people are experts about it? How many people understand how it works? How many people know what the NAR fee is? Like, these are things that you can reposition yourself in a shifting market. We had agents in 2021 say, I had 50 offers on my listing. And you believe that? What a pain in the butt, right? I got to sift through 50 offers.
Yeah. And now they're begging for one.
Yeah. Where did the other 49 buyers go? Right. And now we're in a marketplace where there's plenty of inventory and there's no buyers that are just sitting there because they're afraid of this or afraid of that. Jason Moore, I'll give him a lot of credit from Prosperity, did a great lunch and learn the other day and answered these 3 questions about the shift. And one of the things he said was, it's all relative. Like, if you keep waiting, you're gonna downgrade your buying power. Yeah. If you would have bought last year when you were ready, you would have bought a $400,000 house for $400,000. Now that $400,000 house is going to cost you $450,000, and you're not going to get the same things you wanted. And so your waiting is killing you. Do it now.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing: stop focusing on the people that are sitting on the sidelines necessarily, and start focusing on the people that have life change And change creates what? Real estate transaction.
Opportunity.
Like it's out there. Start building relationships, get out there, talk to people, and you're going to find the business. It's happening. People are buying and selling.
Yeah. I mean, we're still seeing 3 to 4 transactions, 3 to 4,000 transactions a month and 2 sides to it. So, I mean, it's pretty huge.
Yeah. Modest market growth and higher price points. The total closed sales volume across the top 1,000 brands increased by 2.1% year over year. The average closing price saw a notable increase to $584,736, up from $553,340 last year.
Is that nationally?
No, that's here. This is our local market, and we're talking about.
Oh, that's the average price, not the median.
Yeah, and so when you talk about indicating ongoing price appreciation and possibility a shift towards higher value transactions, while closed units were relatively flat. So they went down just a little bit, actual closed transaction year over year, but your sales prices or your average price has gone up a little bit. And there is a difference between average and median.
But you got to also process in that how many properties are pulled off the market and relisted, because we know everyone does that. By the way, that's an MLS violation. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You pull a property off, it says in the MLS rules you're supposed to wait 90 days. And I mean, to do it, you're supposed to cancel out your listing agreement, get a new listing agreement. You got to do all that paperwork process. But I never knew that. I thought you could just do it willy-nilly. And it says 90 days, but nobody enforces that. And
but when they do, it's going to be ugly.
But to the same point, we see a lot of deals right now. Like that's one thing I heard from my wife who does a transaction management business is there's more cancellations happening where buyers are jumping in and out of deals because they have more options. And so you have all of those additional deals that would have closed if they would have processed on. So there's a lot of buyers that are participating in that. They just haven't finished it.
So this is another stat that I thought was pretty good. Signature Real Estate, your affiliated brand, ranks number 8 in total volume with relatively steady volume and a minor dip in both units and market share. Average sales price for this group is up consistently. So our market share is up. We're number 8 in our market, and that's all the national brands. That's all the stock traded companies and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, we're still doing business. You're still in the right place.
We didn't give anybody Tupperware either.
And so that's exciting. And this is all AI.
Yeah.
This is all added to this other piece, and it just came live today. But AI is an amazing tool to get you stats and different things like that. The other cool thing about this software here, like if you're going on a listing presentation, if you reach out, I can help you with some stuff, especially if you know who you're competing against. This I will help
position you.
Yeah, and actually give you the talking points to go in with. So
I think people forget that data is a useful tool either way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can take any stat and make it a value in sales. You just got to figure out the angle for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
There's a stat about that. Like,
This actually I put in today brands that or offices that would make good mergers that we could acquire.
Yeah,
and give me a whole list. So I'm going to be busy.
That's awesome, bro. So let's go in a different direction. So this year, halfway through the year, it's August. Lawsuits behind us a year. All the new stuff coming up. You're state president again. It's like
almost done.
Almost done. What do you think is the most impactful thing coming up that's going to affect the agents? Got to be ready for.
That's a good question.
Because I want to get ready for it.
Give me a minute to think on that because it's
only a 2-man show. I can't give you any time. Be talking to my.
Then I need a phone a friend. No, I think the biggest thing is the consistency of being in and understanding the market.
Mm.
And if you don't understand what's happening, you're going to be left behind.
You mean like the stats side of it, like understanding what's actually going on?
The stats, understanding the market, understanding people, understanding how transactions are working. I think what's really the biggest shift that I see coming is we're going more towards a professional realtor instead of just anybody being able to do this.
Yeah.
I think the quality and the professionalism that you're going to have in your business to succeed. And when I say succeed is survive, it's going to be very apparent who's serious about the business, who's not.
It's funny you say that way. I have a friend who is extremely knowledgeable on a specific area of town, so much to the point of nauseum where like you bring up any part of the community and they know the average square foot of every model home that's out there. They know the names of the model home. They know the options that are in them. And I was sitting with a group of agents, and this person, they were asked a question and they start spewing off all of this info. And you could see the anger and disgust in the other agents that were sitting there, like, oh, a lot of agents try to conquer everywhere. And, we can sell everywhere. And there are certain situations where it makes a lot of sense. But all I could sit there and think of was, damn, if I'm buying a house in that area, they're the first person I'm going to call, because they have a really in-depth knowledge that I can participate with, right? I'm going to rip off and duplicate what they're doing. But it was like, man, where did you get that info? And they literally put in the time to go and find all those stats and have compiled information about it so that when they have that client comes in, I mean, like, that's standing out.
Yeah, it is. But I think also you have to have the ability to have that knowledge, but you also have to understand people and be able to communicate with them, right? Because it's not all about convincing and the facts and stuff. Like we talk about all the time, people make decisions based on emotion and they back it up by fact, logic, and reason. But this guy, if you want to discuss him, right? They sat there and they listened to him and they're like, oh, yeah, he knows all
Well,
that.
they didn't say it to his face.
Yeah, I know, but they're thinking it, right? So now you really want to make this guy upset? You can go to ChatGPT and know everything that he knows in less time than he's put into it.
Yeah, sure.
So,
And he might have done that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but putting in the time to know the stuff is going to be important.
It is.
And then the way to be able to communicate is even more important.
I just think that, when you talk about the skill and you talk about the value, people see that resonated value when why does an attorney or a doctor put their diploma on the wall? I always kind of looked at it and said, oh, that's nice. They went to a nice school, right? Does that mean I'm going to pay more at the front? But it solidifies that, okay, I might be in good hands, right? I don't have a diploma like that on the wall, but what I do have are the past clients that have been there that said, hey, this was a good job. Like, this was a great experience.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked into an agent's office and saw testimonials at all?
No.
Kind of interesting, right?
You don't usually walk in their office because they're not there.
Yeah. So they could be on their high speed tape.
Yeah, we have a lot of agents that work in the offices too. And but yeah, overall, see, I don't go in a doctor's office and look at their diploma.
We have what's funny? We have the same eye doctor. And the first thing in our office is their diploma. Maybe you couldn't see it.
She took you into her office. She took me just into the exam room.
That's where it was.
Yeah. Oh, it was?
It's the biggest thing on the wall.
You're right.
The eye chart.
You're right. I couldn't see it.
Oh, well. I think it's interesting.
Where did you go to school?
Yeah. It was, I think it was University of Chicago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going
to
see University of Phoenix.
But the whole point is it's the standout, right? I mean, there are a lot of things you can do nowadays with technology to progress your business. Like I have gotten stuff accomplished in the last 6 months that I would have thought would have taken me years to get set up. I mean, like detailed plans, products in place. I mean, like even things written for my Facebook or my website, like posts and stuff now. I just put in what I'm thinking and that background behind it, and bam, I have an amazing thing set up in a way that I never would have done it. So yeah, it's night and day.
So ChatGPT, obviously, we're both using that. What other AI tools are you using?
There's a class that just got promoted at UNLV. It's a 8-week class, and I was like, I was on the verge of signing up. It's $1,200 for the class, and it teaches you all the different AI products and prompts and uses for it. And I thought, man, I don't want to have to go down there and go to school. So I found one online. There's an AI group that I'm actually paying about $50 a month for now. And it sends me AI messages. I can't remember the name of it, say live me, but it tells me different prompts and stuff I can use. Like there's one for graphics. There's one for a website. Because I'm trying to make a logo and ChatGPT just can't make it for me. It doesn't understand what I'm saying. And so there's one just specific for logos and stuff.
So, I'll give you some things. So there's one that I bought. So when I went to Dallas or Texas this last year, they had a gentleman that used to be from the deep mine of Google. And what they
deep mine?
Yeah, I think the deep mine crew, it might be a little different name, but nonetheless, they worked on all the really deep stuff, right? And he talked about what's going to become.
Are you saying he's the Google for Google?
He was. He doesn't work there anymore. But he was talking about the next big thing is what they call AI agents. All right. And these are these things that will do the work for you. Right. And so really anything you can do on your computer will be able to be done by one of these agents. And so much so that eventually they'll have like real faces to them, and you'll communicate it like through a Zoom.
Like you're
Right.
this meeting.
Yeah. So it'll be like an offsite assistant, but it'll seem so human. It'll become natural. Anyway, I tell you that because I found this one site called Sinatra Helpers, and I hired these workspace employees. And so right here, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10, 12 of them right here. And I've got a buddy, he does business development for me. And I got Cassie, she does customer support. And Comet, he's in charge of e-commerce. I got
much e-commerce?
Yeah, no, not yet. And I got Dexter, who he does data, and Emmy is email. Anyway, there's all these personal development and stuff like that. And these guys come in with ideas every day. Would you like me to work on this? Would you like me to work on that? And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And they put all these documents and stuff together for me. It's kind of cool. And then this other one.
But when you set that up, just so I understand, because now I'm really intrigued to do that. Did you have to go through like a tutorial where it asks you a bunch of questions and you had to give it information and stuff like that?
Yeah. In fact, right here.
What's it called again?
It's called Sinatra.
Sinatra. Okay.
SINTRA.ai.
Like Frank.
And they have an app on your phone, but they actually have brain AI. So they'll come in, and every once in a while I come in and answer questions. So they answer questions. And like here, what specific qualification, experience, requirements, or licensing criteria are you looking for when recruiting a new agent? I'll put all this stuff in, and it remembers all that stuff, and it works towards these things that I'm doing. The other one I found was Super Helpers. And I've got Cody, who's my copywriting bot, and works like ChatGPT, but I'll put things in there and he'll clean them up, clean up scripts, do all kinds of stuff.
Be in the third grade.
Right? I know. But again, I've got all these guys that are working, and I've got like an Instagram growth bot that'll help me with that. I've got one that actually works on creating social media posts and will post them, like sends
me on your, but it doesn't just post randomly.
No, it sends them to me and I approve them, and then it schedules them and puts them out there. Now, be careful with that kind of stuff, because sometimes they'll put like graphics. And one of the things that we dealt with in the past was these copyrighted graphics that went out, right? And I'm starting to see that coming back a little bit.
So make license to them and things like that.
So just make sure that what it's posting is stuff that you can put out there. But nonetheless, it's really making me more efficient on these kinds of things.
By the way, this is what we talk about after work. Right. Technology that we're going to use.
But this will help you create emails, create follow-up campaigns, all kinds of stuff for your different things. So much so, like my training website is done through a site called Kajabi. And so I can come in here and basically say, hey, create me a web page like for this. And this is all the stuff I want to, and it'll actually tell me exactly how to build it on Kajabi.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's pretty neat. And like writing blogs, all kinds of stuff. So neat stuff that are out there, but that's a big one. But the biggest one that has helped me the most, because I struggle with email.
Yeah.
Right.
I sent you an email about that.
I'll get to it someday. But right now, if you look at it, it's called Fixer AI, right? And Fixer, what it does is it categorizes all my email it goes through it AI-wise, and it puts them into categories like you need to respond to this one. And then this one's for your information. And this one you may need to comment on. And this one is just notification. This one is meeting updates. And then marketing.
Uh-huh.
And so most of the crap I get in my email is marketing. So sometimes like right now I got 22 marketing emails. And when I go in there, I can just click on them all and delete them, or I can unsubscribe.
Is that where my emails go?
Yeah. But the to respond ones, this is the cool thing. When you click on the to respond, like I got 3 right now, and I can look on it. And what happens is it starts a reply for you.
Oh, like here's a theater.
Like it takes it and it gives you, and then you can work off of it.
Nice.
Right? And it also, you can put it in there to help clean it up and stuff. But it has made me so efficient that I keep my emails down to almost nothing. So Fixer AI has been a big one for me.
Fixer AI. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But when you brought that up, like I have 5,300 unread emails. Yeah. Now it's not unread from anybody that's important. Like I've earmarked my important ones. But when I heard that, it seemed to be consuming to go through that many. Did it do that for you?
Yeah, but it immediately separated everything. So it was real easy. Like, and then I took all the marketing one and I select all and deleted them.
Nice.
And so that took it down huge. And so now I'm dealing with the ones that I have to deal with. And I can even find the e-signature ones. They're always in for your information. So I can, or notifications. I can always find them. So I've got 11 in there right now, 11 notifications. And you can see right here, here's a signature. I'm going to go ahead and sign this for you, Ron.
Happening real time.
Yeah, I'm going to sign this for you, Ronnie.
Well, that's cool. Like, the hardest part with that is accepting it that will help you and not hurt you. And I think that's been my biggest drawback is I've been very reluctant on anything. Like when ChatGPT came out, I was like, oh, that's stupid. Like, no, I'm not going to use a bot or something like that to do it. Now everything I run through it, like I couldn't believe how I operated before. My wife still is kind of on the other side a little bit. Like she's like, oh, I see, I've used it for a few things. No, I'm like, for anybody, it would revolutionize their business in the way that they progress it. And so I've actually been pushing her into it, and my parents, they
Yeah. I had dinner with a friend the other night and his wife, and they were very skeptical of it. Right. And I'm just like, it's changing the way I do business and I live. Like everything's going through it now, and it's nuts. And you got to be careful. And so some of the things that pointers I would say is don't put any client information in there.
Yeah.
Don't put addresses, stuff like that. Like if you need something for a property, say the property and the seller. Don't put their name, don't put their information, none of that kind of stuff, because you just don't know. And just be careful what you're putting in there, but it can be a great tool.
No, you tell them, I'm going to go in and delete some stuff.
Well, just be careful. But it's happening, and you can either jump on or not. And the other thing that I heard is, we've done so much to try to get our rankings up in Google, right? And you want to, when somebody searches Google, but what the search engine that's overtaking Google right now is ChatGPT. And so you really want to start using it. You really want to start telling them who you are.
Yep.
Because as people are asking for real estate agents,
it will tell them about you.
It will tell them about you.
I actually asked it. I asked it for a plan, couple of plans. Like this is methodical, right? Wow. I asked it for a plan to take over the marketplace in 24 months, and it spit out a weekly plan. Right? I was like, that's crazy, and it was stuff I didn't even think about. And then I asked it about me. Give me all the reasons why you personally, ChatGPT, would hire me to be your realtor. And it went into a dialogue of here's all the things I would do, and here's all the things that you should fix, and here's all the things. I was shocked. Like, I'm asking a computer why it would hire me. And it's telling other people, if they go through and ask the questions. It's crazy the world we live in.
Yeah, and use it too. It just says, like put stuff into it and say, I want you to remember this for future stuff. And it will retain it. And so you've got to feed it. And as you feed it, and it's not just your searches, like you really start to put your information in. You can put blogs and all kinds of stuff that you do. You can say, hey, this is my website. Utilize this for stuff. So all the stuff that's on there, it's pulling all that stuff. It gets to know you pretty
I got to tell you one thing it really did for me, that this is I always thought I was very well worded when I would write an email or say something to somebody, and I was wrong. Like, so what I do now is I write out what I'm thinking, or, dictate out what I'm going to think. And I take it and I put it in the ChatGPT, and then I tell it the feeling I want it to portray. Here's what I want to have said, but I want you to portray it in this way. And it has made these letters amazing, like things that I want to say to a client. Like when a client says something that just kind of like, oh, I can't believe you said that. Well, I can't respond that way. And so I take my response and I say, make it in a way that sounds like I understand, but here's what we need to get done.
Yeah.
And it rewords these things. And, okay, that's too long, make it shorter. And, spell checks it, make sure the punctuation's correct. I've had clients upset because you didn't put that comma there or that period there.
Which makes you even madder.
Yeah, because I didn't even know.
What's funny is a tool that I used to use in the past was like when somebody upsets you, you can write the email. Don't put their name.
Hammer. Used to say hammer.
Don't put their email in there because you don't want to actually send it. But you write it out and then let it sit for 24 hours, and then you can decide if you want to send it or not. The nice thing about this is you can actually type up that email as angry as you want, and you can say, make this nice. Or make this however you want it to be portrayed.
Because that infuriates them more, by the way.
Yeah, it'll reformulate it to the right response, but you got to get all your anger out, so to speak. So I think, it's
saving lives one day at a time.
Right? Not mine, but yeah, it's been good. So Well, I think this has been about an hour. So, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I need another drink.
Yeah, you got to try the Swizzle Pig.
No, I think the interesting part about this is, we always try to come, I think, with some creative information, and a lot of times we've heard, like, this seems scripted, or it's this topic or that topic, and I think that what you get out of this is that's the real thing. Like, we're really set in these processes to help the agents expand their business, and we're both committed, and the entire management team is committed to help you progress your business whatever way we can. But yet, many people don't take the opportunities of it. So, you do nothing else the next 6 months of the year, take the opportunity to investigate some of the things we talked about, or reach out to any of us so we can help you.
Yeah, and I would just say we're doing accountability calls every Tuesday.
Those are great, by the way.
Yeah, every Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30, 30 minutes. Jump on, listen, participate, whatever. We do a role play call on the framework of tactical empathy and the full fee agent. We're doing that every Wednesday at 11. And now Tyson and Beta have kicked off Thursdays at 1:00 for that. I know Keith's got some stuff coming up. Some live role play. He's got that going on, which I've heard great things about.
Tom's got his tactical empathy nuggets.
Yeah,
can't get away from Tom and his nuggets.
He filmed a bunch of those. Yeah. Watch for those coming out. They're good stuff too. Tom delivers them like nobody else can.
Yeah, like popping bubbles on the screen.
Yeah, so it's good. There's a lot of stuff. Just tap in. Don't get lost. It's a changing market, which could put some people in uncertainty, so to speak. But there's opportunity, stuff like that. Don't get lost. Tap in. If you're serious about staying in real estate, don't just let it go.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and finish this bottle.
Sure.
No, not really. We're not. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. And remember, just like this episode, because it was probably the best one ever.